Welcome to Kiss and Chapters, where every story begins with a spark and ends with a swoon. If you love heart-fluttering romances, unexpected twists, and characters you'll root for, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so I can keep bringing you more sweet, emotional, and unforgettable stories. Let's fall in love with every chapter, together. Chapter 1. Emergency roommate needed. I never thought my life could fall apart in less than 30 minutes. But that was before my apartment decided to turn into a swimming pool. One moment I was enjoying my peaceful evening eating cup noodles while binge-watching a true crime documentary, and the next, I heard a gurgling sound from my bathroom that could only mean one thing: disaster. By the time I reached the door, water was already gushing out like a mini waterfall. My slippers squelched, my cup noodles drowned, and my neighbors yelling didn't make the situation any better. "Miss Chu, turn off your water." Someone banged on my door. I didn't even turn it on. I yelled back, desperately grabbing towels like they could fight off the flood. Spoiler alert, they couldn't. By the time the building's plumber came, my landlord was glaring at me like I had committed a crime. "The place will need repairs. You'll have to move out temporarily. At least a month," he said, arms crossed. "A month," I whispered, my soul leaving my body. Temporary homelessness was not on my 2025 bingo card. Which was why 24 hours later, I was standing in front of a plain white apartment door clutching my emergency duffel bag and a bag of instant noodles, praying this wouldn't be the start of a horror story. "This is the place," my friend Jenny said, already unlocking the door. "I told my brother's friend you'd be coming. He's a bit quiet." "Quiet, huh?" I could handle quiet. After the chaos of the past day, quiet sounded like heaven. The door creaked open. And there he was, Willy Go, the man I would soon learn was the king of silent judgment. He stood in the living room wearing a black t-shirt and gray sweatpants, his hair slightly messy like he'd just woken up. His expression? Completely neutral. No curiosity, no welcome, no annoyance. Just blank. "Hi," I said with my brightest smile. "I'm Margie Chu. Thanks for letting me." He didn't reply. Instead, he held up a yellow sticky note that read, "Rent due on the 1st. Don't touch my stuff." I blinked. "Oh, okay, got it." He turned and walked back into his room without another word. I slowly turned to Jenny, who gave me a sheepish grin. "Yeah, he's like that. You'll get used to it. Bye." She waved and left me there, alone, standing in the unfamiliar apartment with a man who clearly didn't believe in the ancient art of talking. The first thing I noticed was how neat the apartment was. Too neat. The couch was plain gray, the coffee table had a single coaster, and the kitchen counter gleamed like it had been polished that morning. On the fridge, more sticky notes were neatly lined up like soldiers. I walked closer to read them. "Do not put smelly food inside. Use the small spoon for coffee, the big one for soup. No loud music after 9 p.m. I let out a low whistle. Wow, he's like a silent dictator. My room was a small but tidy space with a bed, a desk, and a single empty bookshelf. As I unpacked, I heard faint footsteps in the kitchen. Determined to make a good impression, I stepped out with a bright smile. "Hi again, Willy. So, do you have any rules I should know about? Other than the sticky notes?" He didn't answer. Instead, he slapped another sticky note on the counter. "Wash your dishes immediately." I stared at him. "You really don't like talking, huh?" He didn't even shrug. He just turned and walked away, leaving me holding my bag of instant noodles and questioning every life choice that had led me here. The first evening was awkward. I tried to cook ramen on the stove, but I could feel his eyes on me whenever he passed by the kitchen. Like I was some sort of wild animal invading his peaceful habitat. Halfway through my dinner, a sticky note appeared on the table beside me. I didn't even see him put it there. "Don't eat in the living room." I sighed, picked up my bowl, and moved to the kitchen counter. Then I spotted a blanket folded neatly on the couch. I picked it up and sniffed it, freshly laundered. Maybe he wasn't completely heartless. Maybe this was his way of being hospitable? Around midnight, I tiptoed to the bathroom to brush my teeth and almost screamed when I saw another sticky note on the mirror. "Turn off the lights when done." I sighed. "Hey roommate Tsundere. Challenge accepted." That night, I fell asleep wondering if I'd survive a month under Willy Go's sticky note dictatorship. But deep down I also wondered if he was really as cold as he seemed. Chapter 2. Sticky Note Dictator. By day 2 I had officially moved into the kingdom of sticky notes. I woke up to one stuck on my bedroom door. Trash collection is every Tuesday and Friday. Separate the recyclables. I groaned, peeled it off and stared at it like it had personally wronged me. Good morning to you too, Willy Go. When I stepped out, the apartment was silent except for the faint sound of sizzling eggs. Willy was at the stove, cooking breakfast with the precision of a soldier on a mission. No music. No humming. Not even a muttered curse. I decided to break the ice. Morning, roomie. Wow, you cook. Smells good. He didn't answer. Instead, he slid a plate onto the counter, turned to the fridge and came back with a sticky note. I cook for me. You cook for you. Right? I muttered. I'll just eat my, bread. Alone. I bit into my dry bread dramatically, hoping guilt might trigger some form of human interaction. Nothing. He just ate his eggs silently, like a monk who had taken a vow of grumpy silence. By mid-morning, I decided to explore the apartment properly. The living room had exactly 3 items. 1. A gray couch. 2. A coffee table with a single coaster. 3. A flat-screen TV that looked too expensive for its painfully empty surroundings. On the bookshelf there were no books, just a row of labeled storage boxes. Tables. Manuals. Miscellaneous don't touch. I crouched down to peek inside the miscellaneous don't touch box anyway because let's be real, I'm only human, when I heard a sharp ahem behind me. I froze. Slowly I turned my head. Willy was standing there, arms crossed, his eyes like twin lasers of judgment. Hi, I said, still crouched like a thief caught mid-crime. I wasn't touching. Just admiring your, organizational skills. He squinted. Then without a word, he slapped a sticky note on the coffee table in front of me. Rule number 4. Don't snoop. Fine. I won't snoop. I held up my hands like I was surrendering to the sticky note police. The first clash of our very different lifestyles happened that evening. After a long day of work, I decided to take a shower and de-stress with music. I blasted my Sad Girl Hits playlist and sang my heart out. I was halfway through my emotional rendition of Someone Like You, when the music abruptly stopped. Confused, I peeked out of the bathroom, only to find Willy holding my phone, expression flat, finger hovering over the volume button. Hey! I gasped, wrapping a towel tighter around me. You can't just touch my phone. He didn't speak. He just walked over to the fridge and stuck a note on it. No loud music after 9 p.m. Thin walls. I opened my mouth to argue, but then I noticed the time on the microwave clock. 9:01 p.m. You've got to be kidding me, I muttered. Later I tried watching a drama in the living room. Halfway through, another sticky note appeared on the armrest beside me like a jump scare. Lower the volume. I can hear every line. I whirled around. Do you just lurk in the shadows with sticky notes? No answer. Just the sound of a door quietly closing. I flopped back on the couch, grumbling to myself. He's like a human cat. Silent. Judgy. Leaves his scent everywhere in the form of sticky notes. Still, I had to admit, it was kind of impressive how he managed to communicate an entire lifestyle without speaking more than 5 words to me. That night, I brushed my teeth and spotted a new sticky note on the bathroom mirror. You left hair in the sink. Clean it. I groaned, cleaning up immediately. Fine, dictator, go. You win today. But as I returned to my room, I noticed something new taped to my door. Another sticky note, but this one was different. You hummed in your sleep. Annoying but kind of funny. I blinked. Was that almost a compliment? I went to bed smiling, realizing that there was a tiny crack in Willy Go's icy armor. Chapter 3. The Silent Treatment. By the end of my first week in Willy Go's Silent Kingdom, I had learned 3 very important things. 1. He was a man of few, almost zero, spoken words. 2. He had the reflexes of a ninja and could appear behind you without making a sound. 3. He cared about everything I did, but only enough to leave a sticky note about it. I woke up to one on my nightstand this morning. You snored at 2:14 a.m. Please adjust. I groaned into my pillow. What does that even mean? It is what? My nose? My entire personality. I was tempted to storm into his room and demand an explanation, but something told me I'd just get another sticky note instead of an actual answer. It was Saturday and I'd planned to do a proper grocery run. When I opened the fridge to check supplies, I froze. There, among the labeled containers and neatly arranged eggs, was a brand new pack of strawberry yogurt. My favorite. I hadn't bought it. Slowly, I turned my head toward Willy's door, which was closed as usual. Had he noticed the way I frowned at the lack of yogurt last night? I picked one up, hesitated, and then tore off the foil. The first spoonful was heavenly. "Thanks, roommate Tsundere," I muttered to the empty kitchen. Of course I got no reply. I decided that day I was going to force a conversation with him. If I didn't, I was going to lose my mind communicating only through sticky notes. So when I heard his door open, I immediately pounced. "Good morning, Willy. I was thinking of cooking breakfast. Do you want some?" He blinked at me, fully, like I was a talking goldfish. "Scrambled eggs? Pancakes? Bacon?" I offered. "Come on, you can't say no to bacon." He stared for another 2 seconds, then walked to the fridge, grabbed his prepped meal container and sat down to eat silently. I slapped my forehead. Seriously? Not even a no? Nothing. I sighed dramatically and plopped across from him. "You know, Willy, this is called the silent treatment. It's a psychological weapon. Very effective. But I'll break you eventually." He didn't even look up. That afternoon I decided to test my theory. He only acted cold, but he was secretly nice. I accidentally fell asleep on the couch while scrolling through my phone. When I woke up an hour later, I was covered with the soft gray blanket from the couch. I smirked to myself. Gotcha. Willy Go. 100 layers of ice on the outside but warm, gooey mochi on the inside. My chance to push him out of his comfort zone came that evening. The apartment lost Wi-Fi. I was in the middle of watching a drama when the spinning, buffering circle of doom appeared. "No!" I wailed, throwing myself onto the couch dramatically. The door to his room cracked open. He appeared like a ghost, holding his phone. "Wi-Fi's down," I said, sitting up. "What do we do?" He stared. Then he disappeared into his room. I waited. And waited. 5 minutes later he returned, not with a sticky note this time, but with a portable hotspot. He placed it on the coffee table and pushed it toward me without a word. "Oh my gosh, you're a lifesaver," I said, clasping my hands. "Thank you, Willy." He gave the faintest nod and retreated like a vampire avoiding sunlight. Later that night I found a new sticky note on my bedroom door. "Don't stay up too late. You look like a raccoon when tired." I laughed so hard I almost fell over. For someone who barely spoke, Willy Go sure had a way of saying the most Tsundere things imaginable. Chapter 4. Unexpected Rescue. Living with Willy Go was like being in a very strange reality show. Every day was a challenge. Avoid breaking any of the mysterious sticky note rules. Decode his silent stares. Survive the crushing weight of the awkward silence. And yet, I was starting to enjoy it. Not that I'd ever admit that to him. On Thursday evening, I made the brilliant decision to take out the trash in my pajamas. The sky was cloudy, but I figured I'd be quick. I slipped on my sandals, grabbed the garbage bag, and ran down to the alley behind the building. And that's when it happened. The sound of the apartment door locking behind me. My blood ran cold. No, no, no. I jiggled the doorknob. Locked. My phone. My keys. Also inside. My dignity. Already gone. To make matters worse, the clouds finally unleashed a full-on downpour. Rain drenched me instantly, plastering my hair to my face. I looked like a soggy stray cat. I stood there in the rain, gripping the trash bag, wondering if this was how my life ended. Homeless, humiliated, and slightly smelly. 10 minutes later, I heard footsteps approaching. Through the rain, a figure appeared with an umbrella, tall, broad-shouldered, and looking way too calm for the situation. "Willy!" I cried. "You're my hero." He stopped in front of me, his face as unreadable as ever, and held the umbrella over my head without a word. I squinted at him. "You weren't going to check on me?" He blinked once. Then with his free hand he handed me a plastic folder. Inside was a sticky note, perfectly protected from the rain. "Check the weather before going out." I gawked at him. "Seriously? I'm freezing and that's your reaction?" He sighed, the tiniest sound of exasperation, before unlocking the door and ushering me inside. Once in the warm apartment, I left a puddle on the floor while he fetched a towel. He didn't speak, just draped it over my shoulders and pushed me toward my room. I paused at the door. Thanks, I guess. Even if you're the grumpiest rescuer in history. He gave me a look I couldn't quite decipher and retreated into his room. Later that night, after I'd warmed up in a hot shower and changed into dry clothes, I noticed a new sticky note on my bedside table. Don't go outside without telling me next time. My heart did a weird little flip. It wasn't quite a scolding, more like a Tsundere version of concern. I smiled, hugging my pillow. Maybe living with Willy Go wasn't going to be so bad after all. Chapter 5. Rules were made to be broken. By the second week, I had memorized all of Willy Go's sticky note rules. Don't touch his stuff. Don't snoop. Wash your dishes immediately. No loud music after 9 p.m. Separate the trash. And my personal favorite, adjust your snoring. I had been a perfect roommate. Well, almost perfect. Until the day I made the fatal mistake of breaking rule number 1. It was a Sunday morning and I was in the kitchen trying to make breakfast. I had just realized I'd run out of clean mugs for coffee. My choices were 1. Drink coffee from a bowl like an animal. 2. Use one of Willy Go's pristine color-coded mugs. I went with option 2. In my defense, it was just a mug. A plain white mug with a tiny blue stripe. Practically begged to be used. I took one glorious sip of coffee and sighed in satisfaction. That's when I felt it, the unmistakable weight of Willy's stare. I froze mid-sip. He was standing in the doorway, hair slightly messy from sleep, wearing that same neutral expression that somehow screamed, I will write a very angry sticky note about this. Morning, I said weakly. Want some coffee? He said nothing. He just walked over, plucked the mug from my hands and set it in the sink. Then he took out a sticky note and slapped it on the counter. Rule number 1. Don't touch my stuff. Seriously? It's just a mug. I threw my hands up. It's not like I stole your kidney. He stared at me for a few seconds and for the first time since I moved in, his voice emerged. Quiet, even but sharp. You don't listen. I blinked. Excuse me. He didn't repeat himself. He just turned away and started washing the mug like I'd contaminated it with my mere existence. Something in me snapped. Okay, you know what? I'm sorry I touched your precious mug, Your Highness. Maybe if you actually talked instead of leaving sticky notes everywhere, I'd know how to live here without breaking your royal decrees. He paused mid-wash but didn't look at me. I waited for him to say something but he just didn't. Frustrated, I stormed into my room and slammed the door. For the first time since I moved in, the apartment felt heavy with tension. No sticky notes. No subtle acts of kindness. Just silence. I sulked in my room for hours, binge-watching videos on my phone to distract myself. When I finally emerged for water that evening, I found a single sticky note on the counter. But this one was different. I don't hate you. I just don't know how to live with someone else. My chest tightened. For a man who communicated mostly through grumbles and posts, that was practically a heartfelt speech. I peeled the note off the counter and stared at it for a long moment before whispering to the empty apartment, Maybe I don't hate you either, Willy Go. Chapter 6. The Tsundere Cracks. After the Great Mug incident, I honestly thought Willy Go and I would remain in a cold war forever. But life has a funny way of softening walls when you least expect it. Started with my cooking disasters. I'll admit it, I'm a menace in the kitchen. I can burn rice, oversalt soup, and once nearly set a pan on fire trying to fry an egg. Willy, of course, silently witnessed all of this like a disappointed cooking instructor. On Tuesday evening, I tried to make fried rice. I was humming to myself thinking it was going pretty well until I noticed smoke. I coughed, waving a spatula. It's fine. Totally fine. A shadow loomed behind me. I turned to see Willy holding a fire extinguisher, expression flat as usual. It's not that bad, I said defensively. He set the extinguisher down and took the spatula from my hand without a word. In 5 minutes he had turned my sad, burnt mess into golden, perfect fried rice. I stood there, arms crossed. So, you're just going to silently show off your superior cooking skills? He gave me a brief glance and shockingly spoke. Watch. Next time don't burn the garlic. My jaw dropped. Did you just voluntarily give me verbal instructions? He turned away, ears faintly pink. From that day on, our dynamic started to shift. He let me stand beside him while he cooked, grumbling corrections whenever I did something wrong. I teased him relentlessly about finally using his voice. He denied caring, of course, but his actions said otherwise. One night, I tried to thank him by making pancakes for dessert. They came out lopsided and slightly undercooked, but I proudly served them anyway. He stared at the plate for a long moment, then ate one without complaint. "This is terrible," he said finally. I gasped. "Excuse me? That's the taste of love." He avoided my eyes. "It's edible." For Willy Go, that was practically a compliment. The real breakthrough happened a few days later, when I was sprawled on the couch watching a late-night drama. My phone buzzed with a message from my friend Jenny. "Jenny, hey. My coworker is single. Want me to set you up on a coffee date?" I snorted. Out loud. As if I'd survived dating right now. I didn't notice Willy coming out of his room until he passed by and said very casually, "You're loud." I turned toward him, grinning. "Oh. Were you eavesdropping, roommate Tsundere?" He froze mid-step. "No." I patted the couch beside me. "Come on, watch this with me. I promise there's minimal singing." He hesitated, then sat down at the farthest end of the couch. And for the first time ever we watched a drama together. He didn't say much, just the occasional dry remark about how unrealistic it was for the lead to confess in the rain. But when the female lead tripped and the male lead caught her bridal style, I caught Willy glancing at me from the corner of his eye, his ears faintly red. I smirked. "You're such a Tsundere." He frowned. "Don't call me that." "Too late," I said cheerfully. "It's your official title now." That night as I got ready for bed, I found a new sticky note on my door. "Don't stay up too late. And, thanks for the pancakes." I smiled, tucking it into my growing collection of sticky notes. The ice was cracking. Slowly but surely Willy Go was showing the soft, squishy center of his Tsundere heart. Chapter 7. Jealous Notes. I wasn't planning on testing Willy Go's patience again, but life, or rather my social life, had other plans. It started with a simple text from my college friend Ken. "Ken, hey Margie. I'm in the neighborhood. Wanna grab coffee?" I hesitated. Ken was harmless, friendly, funny, and extremely into comic books. I hadn't seen him in months, so I said yes. But when we got to the coffee shop, it was packed. "Your place is close, right?" Ken asked. "We can hang there instead?" I should have said no. I really should have said no. But the skies were cloudy and I didn't feel like walking around in the drizzle. So like a fool I said, "Sure." The moment we stepped inside the apartment, I felt the temperature drop. And it wasn't from the air conditioning. Willy Go emerged from his room, hair slightly tousled, wearing a plain black t-shirt. His face was a perfect mask of neutrality, but his eyes. Oh boy, his eyes. Hey Willy," I said, forcing a smile. "This is my friend Ken. He's just here to hang out for a bit." Ken waved. "Hey man." Willy didn't respond. He just turned and walked into the kitchen, emerging a moment later with a yellow sticky note, which he slapped onto the fridge in silent judgment. I walked over to read it. "Guests leave by 9 p.m. No exceptions." It was 5:42 p.m. I facepalmed. "Seriously?" I muttered under my breath. Ken, blissfully unaware of the Tsundere storm brewing, plopped onto the couch and started flipping through my phone gallery, laughing at old photos of us in college. I could feel Willy's stare from the kitchen. After about an hour, I went to get us some snacks. Willy was standing by the counter, arms crossed. "Don't stay up late," he said flatly. I blinked. He spoke. It's not even dark yet," I said. He didn't reply. He just grabbed a sticky note, scribbled furiously, and stuck it on the fridge next to the last one. "No loud laughter after 8 p.m. I gawked at him. "Are you jealous?" His ears turned pink. "No." "Oh my gosh, you are." I grinned like the cat who caught the canary. "You're jealous because I brought home a guy." Ken called from the couch. "What's up?" "Nothing," I sang, skipping back to the living room with chips. "Just having a very enlightening conversation with my Tsundere roommate." Ken left around 8:30 p.m. after politely thanking Willy for, well, existing silently. As soon as the door closed, I turned to Willy, arms crossed. "You know, you could have just said you didn't like him being here." He didn't answer. I walked closer, poking his arm. "Instead, you gave me the jealous sticky note treatment. Admit it." "I wasn't jealous," he muttered, looking away. And I'm secretly a billionaire. He didn't respond, but later that night I found a sticky note on my pillow. I'm not jealous. I just don't like strangers here. Another sticky note underneath it. But maybe I like it better when it's just us. I smiled into my pillow, heart doing an embarrassing little flip. Willy Go, the human ice cube, was slowly melting. Chapter 8. When the power goes out. I always thought blackouts were romantic. In movies. In real life. Not so much. Especially when you're with a roommate who communicates mostly through sticky notes. It started with a stormy Friday night. I was curled up on the couch watching a drama. Rain pounding against the windows. Thunder rumbling in the distance. Willy was at the kitchen table reading something on his tablet, looking as calm as ever. Then click. Everything went dark. Ah. I yelped, nearly dropping my phone. The apartment was suddenly pitch black, the only light coming from a distant flash of lightning. Willy. I called out. Here. His voice was closer than I expected, and I nearly jumped when I felt a hand lightly touch my arm. Warn me before you materialize out of nowhere. I said, clutching my chest. Flashlight, he said simply, pressing a small one into my hand. We ended up in the living room, sitting on the floor with a single candle between us. For the first few minutes it was just quiet. The storm outside, the occasional flicker of lightning, and the soft sound of rain. I decided to break the silence. You know, this is the longest we've sat together without a sticky note involved. He gave me a small dry look. You talk enough for both of us. Rude, I said, but I was smiling. Maybe it was the storm or the candlelight or the fact that I was finally getting used to his quiet company, but I decided to ask something I'd been wondering for weeks. Hey Willy, why do you hate talking so much? He hesitated. In the dim light, I could see his fingers tapping lightly against his knee. I don't hate talking, he said slowly. I just never had to. Lived alone for years. Easier that way. I tilted my head. So I'm what? A nuisance. He shook his head immediately, and for the first time, I saw something raw flicker across his usually unreadable face. No. Just different. Different. My chest warmed a little at that. The storm outside roared, and another flash of lightning lit the room. For a moment his face softened, not the usual blank wall but something shy. You're noisy, he said finally. Well, thanks. But the place feels less empty now. I blinked, caught off guard. Wait, was that a compliment? He looked away, clearly regretting every word. Forget it. No way. I grinned. You like having me here. I didn't say that. You basically did. You're annoying. I leaned back against the couch, grinning wider than ever. Annoying but necessary. Got it. When the power finally came back an hour later, I almost wished it hadn't. Because for that 1 hour in the dark, Willy Go wasn't just my Tsundere roommate. He was kind of wonderful. Later that night, I found a sticky note on my bedroom door. Don't tell anyone, I said, the apartment feels less empty. I have a reputation. I laughed so hard I had to cover my face with my pillow. Chapter 9. Roommate Rule Number 1. Don't fall for me. It happened gradually. One moment, Willy Go was just my silent, sticky note-loving roommate. The next, I couldn't stop noticing every tiny stupid thing he did. The way his hair stuck up in the morning. The way he always handed me the bigger portion of whatever he cooked, pretending it was an accident. The way his ears turned pink whenever I teased him. Somewhere between the sticky notes and the late-night candlelight conversation, I had officially entered dangerous territory. Margie Chu was falling for my Tsundere roommate. Of course I tried to deny it. When Jenny called to check in, I laughed it off. Jenny, so how's living with Mr. Sticky Note? Me, oh, he's fine. Totally normal. Not charming at all. Definitely not cute. Jenny snorted. Wow. You're in trouble. The trouble became real a few days later when Willy came out of his room wearing a button-down shirt instead of his usual t-shirt and sweats. I nearly choked on my cereal. Whoa. Who are you and what did you do with my roommate? He raised an eyebrow. Job interview. Oh, I nodded slowly. So you do clean up nice. Who you? He ignored me, but I caught the faintest twitch at the corner of his lips. Later that day I decided to cook dinner as a surprise for him. I worked extra hard, watched 3 YouTube tutorials, followed the recipe to the letter, and somehow managed not to set anything on fire. When he came home and sniffed the air, I puffed my chest proudly. Tada! Your first Margie Chu special that won't kill you. He sat down, inspected the plate, and took a bite. Not bad, he said finally. I gasped. Is that a compliment? Maybe. I leaned across the table, grinning. Careful, Willy. If you keep this up, I might think you like me. His fork froze for a split second. You talk too much. That night I found a sticky note on my pillow. Roommate rule number 1. Don't fall for me. I stared at it for a long moment, my heart thumping. I should have laughed. I should have tossed it aside like all his other sarcastic notes. Instead, I tucked it under my pillow and whispered to the dark, too late. The problem with falling for your Tsundere roommate is, once you notice the soft side, there's no going back. Every small gesture became a declaration. A him handing me the umbrella without asking. A him refilling the water pitcher after I drank from it. A him leaving a single strawberry yogurt in the fridge with a note. Yours. I was done for. By the weekend, my feelings were impossible to ignore. We were sitting on the couch side by side watching a movie. My head kept leaning closer to his shoulder without permission. At one point, I swore our fingers brushed on the armrest. He didn't pull away. My heart was doing full gymnastics by then, and for once, the apartment didn't feel like a silent kingdom. It felt like home. Chapter 10. Breaking all the rules. The thing about falling for your Tsundere roommate is, eventually the sticky notes aren't enough. I wanted to hear him say it. I wanted to see it in his eyes. I wanted him to break his own rule. The moment came on an ordinary Tuesday night. I was in the kitchen, rummaging through the fridge for a midnight snack, when I spotted a note stuck to the milk carton. Stop drinking from the carton. Germs. I snorted, half asleep. Yeah. That's when I heard footsteps. Willy appeared, hair messy, in a white t-shirt and sweatpants. He rubbed his eyes and leaned against the doorway. You're loud, he said softly. You're grumpy, I shot back automatically. I was just getting milk. He stared at me for a long moment, then walked over, plucked the milk from my hand and set it on the counter. You're going to spill it, he said. You're bossy, I said, folding my arms. He didn't reply right away. Instead, he reached into the drawer by the fridge and pulled out a sticky notepad. I rolled my eyes. Seriously? Even now? But instead of sticking it anywhere, he wrote slowly, deliberately, and then held it out to me. In his neat handwriting it said, I like you. My brain short-circuited. What? He looked at me, cheeks faintly pink. You're noisy, messy, annoying. But I like you. For a man of few words, it hit harder than a Shakespearean love sonnet. I clutched the note to my chest, grinning so wide it hurt. Wow. Roommate rule number 1 officially broken. He hesitated, then muttered, maybe I want to break the rest too. My heart practically leapt out of my chest. I don't even know who moved first, but the next thing I knew, I was standing on my toes, pressing a quick, clumsy kiss to his lips. It was soft, awkward, and perfect. When I pulled back, he blinked at me, stunned. Guess I'm breaking the rules too, I said, my voice shaky with nerves and excitement. He let out a small huff of laughter, the closest thing to a laugh I'd ever heard from him, and pulled a fresh sticky note from the pad. He stuck it gently to my forehead. New rule, don't leave. My chest warmed all the way through. Deal. The next morning, the fridge was covered in new sticky notes. Good morning. Eat breakfast. Stop humming off key. And in the corner, the one that mattered most, I like you. Don't forget. For the first time since moving in, Willy Go's apartment didn't just feel like his kingdom. It felt like ours. Epilogue. Sticky notes of love. 6 months later, our apartment is different. It still looks neat and minimalist, but now it's alive. And my art supplies sit in a corner of the living room. There's a small shelf of romance novels next to his miscellaneous don't touch box. And the fridge is practically a sticky note museum. Some things haven't changed. Willy Go is still at Tsundere. He still leaves notes everywhere. But now they read differently. Eat breakfast. I made extra. Good luck at work. Don't trip this time. Missed you today. My favorite is the one he sneaks onto my pillow every week. Still like you. Our evenings have a rhythm now. I come home first, flop dramatically on the couch, and hum off key on purpose just to hear him grumble, you're noisy. Sometimes he lets me cook. He still supervises, of course, but he doesn't look as stressed about me holding a spatula anymore. One night, I caught him smiling when I accidentally flipped a pancake onto the floor. He tried to hide it behind his hand, but I saw. I called him out on it and he turned pink all the way to his ears. The best part? He talks more now. Not a lot, but enough. Enough to tell me things I never thought I'd hear from the silent man I once met through a sticky note argument. Like tonight, as I curl up beside him on the couch, he slips a warm arm around my shoulders and murmurs, "The apartment feels complete now." I tilt my head up, grinning. "Wow. That's practically a love poem from you." He rolls his eyes, but his thumb brushes my shoulder in quiet affection. Then he pulls a small sticky note from his pocket and sticks it on my forehead. "Love you." I laugh, my heart doing cartwheels. I guess some rules are meant to be broken. And some sticky notes are meant to last forever.